You're wondering about the lazy zone, right? Hi, I'm Bea Dominguez, founder of the School of Personal Transformation, and today I'm going to tell you why I call it the lazy zone and not the comfort zone. So, hitting the lazy zone. You may tell I'm pretty excited today because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I came up with this new name, the lazy zone, not too long ago. It was actually during the coronavirus when I was doing a series on spreading the love. You can read all about that on the Personal Transformation Facebook page, not the group. So lazy zone, it comes from these circles that you all know about, I'm sure, and if not, just Google it. Google comfort zone, and you will see these three circles that pop up. So in the inner circle, it's what we call the comfort zone. Then if we step out of the so-called comfort zone, we get into the stretch zone, and then the outer circle is the panic zone. So I thought these zones names are pretty crap. And starting with the comfort zone, that really actually bothers me, because when I coach people, we talk about this, right? We talk about, oh, but it's the comfort zone, and stepping out of the comfort zone, you have to do X, Y, Z. And I just think the word comfort sets you up in the wrong way, right? If I need to guide you as a coach, if you want to think about, I need to do something else, and then go and say to yourself, I need to step out of your comfort zone, or step out of my comfort zone, who likes to do that? That's not really inviting. So for me, it then went further, and when I thought about it, when I really analyzed it, and I'm going to talk about this today, and I'm going to tell you how I got to my conclusion as well by doing the exercise that I did with you today. So comfort for me today, I call it lazy. It's just being lazy. And then the next zone, the so-called stretch zone, right, which sounds so scary. Who wants to really stretch themselves out? I feel pretty good the way I am. So the stretch zone is really where shit actually happens. And I'll tell you all about it. And then the so-called panic zone. I mean, that's just like red flags. No, no, no. Never ever go into the panic zone, because you'll be running around like a headless chicken. So panic zone, again, that's just anything out of normal for me. That's just something that you're not used to do every day, what we call normal. And that's why it seems so panicky, but actually it's just something that we need to try out and see how we feel in that. So, which leads us really nicely into the exercise. How did I get to these conclusions? Is because of an exercise that I did officially when I was training to become a personal performance coach with the Coaching Academy in London. I went, excuse me, I went for a free weekend. Actually, it was the introduction weekend before signing on to the school, before becoming a coach. And it really hit me. That exercise really hit me. It was really good. And since then, I'm obviously using it for myself still today, and I'm using it with all my clients. And I think you're really gonna love it. So what you need to do right now is think about the comfort zone, right? We start there. We're going to be thinking about all three zones. We're going to call them traditionally by their name. We're going to think about the comfort zone, then we're going to think about the stretch zone, and then we're going to think about the panic zone. And for this exercise, it'd be really good if you close your eyes, and I'll do it now with you, and really breathe into the feelings when you think about each zone. So starting with the comfort zone, take a deep breath and really feel into a feeling when you are in your comfort zone. So how do you feel when you are in your comfort zone? So while you have your eyes closed, think about a situation when you have been in your comfort zone, right? So I'll give you a moment to do that. Just breathe in and breathe out, and think about a moment in your life in the past when you are in your comfort zone. And think about how you feel. So really important is how you feel about it. And when you have that feeling, open your eyes and say out loud how are those feelings. And ideally, you have 2 to 3 feelings that you want to associate to that comfort zone. Yeah. And when you have those, say them out loud or write them down right now or later. It's probably best to do it in the moment so you don't forget about it. You can always go back to the exercise. So I have actually my notebook here in front of me that I did back then. So when I was doing the exercise and I had to feel into a moment in my life where I was comfortable in my life, the 2 feelings I came up with are I feel safe and I feel unchallenged. Okay, so I feel safe and unchallenged when I'm comfortable, when I'm in my comfort zone. Okay, so put that aside and we'll travel to the next zone. So next up is the stretch zone. Okay. So close your eyes again and think about a moment in your life when you were stretched. When do you feel stretched? When do you step out of your comfort zone? When have you stepped out of your comfort zone? Because I'm sure we all have. Life requires us to step out of our comfort zone, which is good, but that aside, when have you been out of your comfort zone? When have you stepped into the stretch zone? And how did you feel in that moment? Think about 2 or 3 feelings. Really think about how you felt in that moment. Okay, so you're doing something that you're not super comfortable with. And how do you feel in that moment? Or how did you feel in that moment? Okay, so let's open our eyes again and say it out loud or write it down so you don't forget about it. So going back to my notebook, I felt inspired, hopeful, and challenged. So I don't know what the words you came up with right now, and I so welcome you to write them down in your comments. But my feelings when I step out of my comfort zone is that I feel inspired, I feel hopeful, and I feel challenged. So let's do the last circle before we start analyzing. The last circle being the panic zone, okay? So for that, let's close our eyes again together and think about a time when you really, really were stretching. So it's beyond stretching yourself, doing something that is really uncomfortable for you, right? It's something that you rather not do. But sometimes life or your job requires you to do things that you actually don't want to do, okay? So think about a moment in your life where you were feeling in that zone and feel the feelings that you're feeling, and think about 1 or 2 feelings, ideally 2 feelings that come up for you right now, how you felt in that moment. And when you have those 2 feelings, open your eyes and say them out loud or write them down, right? The 2 feelings that I had back then in the days when I was thinking about my panic zone were I was scared and I was feeling vulnerable. Okay? Right, so having done this exercise, I can't see your scribblings right now. I didn't hear your thoughts, but please do share them with me. But here's what I learned from this exercise, right? And I really think and hope that it will help you too. So if I go back to each one of them, if I visit each zone and think about the comfort zone where I feel safe and unchallenged, it sounds pretty much like comfort zone, right? So nothing really changed there for me. Obviously I feel safe, and I think a lot of you probably feel the same way in the comfort zone. And then the unchallenged goes with that as well, because I'm in my comfort, so I'm not being challenged. But it gets really interesting then if we travel into our stretch zone. That's really where I thought something is happening here. In our stretch zone, I don't know if I just said that, but it's where I felt inspired, hopeful, and challenged. And that to me, when I read those words back, when I did the exercise, I know I'm not alone today. We have Little Fly with me today. When I read those words back, I feel inspired, hopeful, and challenged in the stretch zone. Or the way you can look at it, I feel inspired, hopeful, and challenged when I step out of my comfort zone. So what I'm actually saying to myself is that I'm actually okay. I feel good when I step out of my comfort zone. Nothing scary is happening, right? Because if we think, oh God, you gotta step out of your comfort zone to do X, Y, Z, it's like, oh God, but I'm scared. I can't. But actually, when I look at my results, and I invite you now to look at your results, when I step out of my comfort zone, I feel inspired, hopeful, and challenged. That's the zone I actually want to be all the time. So something is actually wrong with my comfort zone because I feel safe and unchallenged. Well, that's sweet, yes. And I thought about this. When do I feel that way? Well, when I'm at home and reading a book, great. And there's always a time and a place for that. But the constant zone that I like to be acting, that I like to be alive most of my day, except when I sleep and read a book, is being in my stretch zone. I want to be inspired all day long. I want to be hopeful all day long that I can do things, that things are happening. And I want to feel challenged all day because that's what makes me feel alive. If I feel safe, that's great. And if I feel unchallenged, that's not so great actually. There's a place for it when I need to relax, then I just need to let go of everything. But most of the time, I like to be challenged because that's what makes me feel alive. And in my life, I want to feel alive. So the zone that I actually choose to be in all the time is my stretch zone. And the comfort zone, actually to me, looking back now, reading how I feel, is the lazy zone. It's the zone when you don't get off the couch. It's the zone when you make excuses over excuses because apparently outside of the comfort zone, in the next stretch zone, I am out of my comfort and that's a bad thing. No, you're actually being lazy when you are in your comfort zone. And sometimes that's okay, right? I want to make that really clear right now. We don't have to be hopping around all day and all the time in other zones. We need to take breaks as well. So it's absolutely fine to be in your comfort zone. But you got to be aware when you are in your comfort zone because you need some, in my case, safety, some unchallenging times, some reading times, some sleeping times, some eating times. Those are really my basic needs that are covered in the comfort zone. But anything that for me involves me feeling really alive and doing things is in the stretch zone, is when I'm in action. And that's why I call the comfort zone the lazy zone. It's good to be lazy, there's a time for it, but be aware if you hang out too long in the comfort zone, you're being lazy because all the action is in the comfort zone. And if you really think about it, and please do share your comments with me, if you look at your your stretch zone now, what does it actually say in there? How do you feel when you are in your stretch zone? And if you did the exercise, you have it right now in front of you. And if you didn't do the exercise, then now's the time to go back to the exercise and really think about a time when you were in your stretch zone. And I'm almost certain, because I've seen so many other people do the same exercise with me, whether they have done it with me when I did the course or whether I use this exercise now to coach my clients. We all come to the same conclusion. The stretch zone is actually a wonderful zone to be in. And just because there is the saying out there, oh, you gotta get out of your comfort zone, we have created this huge misperception about what the comfort zone is. And today, as your guide, I want to tell you, I want to make you aware of that please consider the comfort zone to be a lazy zone and your stretch zone to be the zone of your choice. Let's go to the last zone, right? Because it's still out there, which is the so-called panic zone. Again, such a horrible name. And I'm aware these zones have grown. If you Google it, there's now all sorts of names, learning zones and whatnot. And that's great because that's what needed to happen. But I really wanted to verbalize this whole thing about, to make the distinction between the comfort and the stretch. And lastly now the panic zone, which is such a bad word. It's such a no-no word, because I cannot coach my clients and I cannot coach myself, because I'm still and will always be on a journey. I cannot enter the panic zone thinking of it of panic. If you tell me please enter the panic zone, but you gotta get out there and you gotta enter the panic zone, I will say no, hell no. Why would I? Why would I want to go into the panic zone? It doesn't sound really inviting. But if I think of the zone of being anything else than normal, and then that already rings my alarm bells, and that also already tells me if anywhere the word normal is attached, there's something not right with it. Because what is normal, right? Do I want to be normal? No. Do I feel normal? No. Do I think the word normal is actually a good word? No. Because what is normal? Normal compared to what? Okay? So if I want to enter the panic zone, that just means I need to enter somewhere where I haven't been before, or somewhere where I just don't know what the results are. And remember, my feelings that came up when I'm in that panic zone, when I did the exercise back then, it was feeling scared and vulnerable. And when I saw those two words, it made sense to me. It made sense to me that I said I'm scared and I'm vulnerable, because it's unknown to me. When I enter the zone, the panic zone, I do something that is not known to me. And obviously you're scared when you do something that's unknown. But I didn't write down, I was feeling like I was dying, or I felt, horrible, right? I wrote down the feeling I'm scared, and I can live with that. I can live with the feeling of being scared, because again, that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. It's just an alert that my brain is triggering down to the rest of this me, is telling me, oops, Bea, careful, you don't know this one. So, let's be scared, because something scary can come, or it can be scary. But guess what, Bea? It's not horrible. You're not going to die, right? And I can accept that. I can live with things that are scary. And the other word really feeds into that scariness. It's really the extension of being scared. It's being vulnerable. And if we don't want to be vulnerable, that just means we don't want to open up ourselves to look bad, to be ashamed. And now this we open a huge can of worms with this word shame, which I'm not going into today. That's definitely for another day. But feeling vulnerable is nothing else but being brave and courageous. Okay, being scared and vulnerable isn't anything else but being open and expressing yourself and being courageous. The greatest acts of vulnerability are being done by people who are courageous. So if I need to go to the panic zone and call it now, it's the courageous zone. That sounds good. I like to be in that. I like to see myself as a courageous person, because I am a courageous person, and so are you, right? So does that start to make sense? Would you gotta go to the panic zone, or would you go to the courageous zone? To me, it sounds more inviting to go to the courageous zone. So it's all about the words we use, all about how we think, what will happen to us. So I really hope, I'm going to cut the video short today-ish. I really want you to think about the exercise today. Go back to the words and really let that sink in, what I just said to you. Comfort zone, lazy zone, stretch zone being the zone that is actually the normal zone. Here it is again, the word normal, the zone that you feel most alive. What did you write down? Is that a feeling you want to feel every day, all the time? And then the panic zone, how about it's the courageous zone? How about it is the vulnerable zone? How about I can stand to that? I can stand up to being vulnerable. What's wrong with being vulnerable? Nothing. Absolutely nothing is vulnerable. Absolutely nothing's wrong with being vulnerable. Nothing bad will happen. Quite the opposite. The only thing that will happen that is guaranteed is that you will grow, you will learn with the outcome, with whatever happens next. If you can take the results of being vulnerable or whatever you wrote down in your panic zone, you know, maybe this obviously not being vulnerable, but whatever you wrote down in your panic zone, if you can take that as your growing zone, as something you can learn from, how inviting is that to go back? You know, how about looking back to like, yes, that's what happened to me. This is what I learned. Hell yes, I want to go back to that zone. Yes, not all the time, because, you know, it took some time to process that information. But yes, I can go back to that zone. Why not? So I invite you to rename the panic zone to whatever you want. And remember, shit happens in the stretch zone. Be in the stretch zone. That's where you really, really, really start growing and really start knowing yourself and finding yourself. Enough said. Let me know your comments. Let me know what came up for you today doing the exercise. Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like. I would very much appreciate it. It gives me obviously some comfort knowing when I'm being vulnerable. I'm being alive and people are out there watching this. If you're a woman who wants to join me and other amazing women on their journey of self-discovery and self-healing and really become the woman you are meant to be and bring this light out into that you have inside you. If you want to bring it out, join the Facebook group. You have the link in the description. And there is this free course out there that I will be pulling down very soon because I'm going to do something else. But you have the link in the description as well. There's a video introducing the free course as well. It's all about giving you a 7-day self-development journey. You will receive an email every day with a task to do that will challenge you, that will invite you to reflect on your life and the things that you want in life. And that's for it. Any comments, any questions, let me know in the comments. Feel free to email me, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.